I don't want to use the word easily. Um, do I think they're the favorites? Do I think if everything's equal and everybody's there,
Yeah, everyone.
how can they not be? I mean, um, the other guys that they got, in my opinion, again, are insurance policies. And they're very good insurance policies. These are moves that they made, I feel, because they also are not sure whether their big three can play throughout the season healthy, and this is what's happening. Um, what I think they've only played 7 games together, if I'm not
Yeah, until
mistaken,
now,
something like that, right?
seven pa rin.
Still
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
So, having Lamarcus there and Blake there is not the same as, let's say they lose Harden, who got injured as reliable and as sturdy as that guy is. Um, those are insurance policies just in case one or two gets injured, and who knows what Kyrie's, whether it's an injury or a personal matter that he has to attend to. Who knows what's going to happen? So I think those guys are in place just in case one or two are out for whatever reason going into the playoffs. But if everybody's healthy, I think they are favorites. I wouldn't say they were gonna go easily through the East, but they are going to be favorites. And the thing that most experts say from the very start that they had to improve was better defense and better rebounding. And if you put Blake there and Lamarcus there, that addresses the rebounding part at the
yeah,
very least.
yeah,
And if they can only be decent defensively, and they have been against some of the other teams, they have been decent at certain times. With Brooklyn, I think they don't have to be decent defensively all throughout the game. They just have to be decent defensively in spurts where they can get the stops and then fuel their overwhelming offense, right? I think that's the secret for them. They don't have to be a lockdown defending team like, let's say, Miami, whose identity is in defense. So I'm not, regardless of whether you're a fan or not, just to be objective about it, it's hard not to put them as favorites. But I will not say they're easily going to go through, because Philadelphia, if everything is healthy, everyone is healthy, including, of course, Embiid. I think that's a tough matchup defensively, because I think defensively Philadelphia has been so good. I think Doc Rivers has obviously made the biggest difference there in terms of how they play offensively and defensively. So I wouldn't get past that. Um, Milwaukee, obviously, I'm still not sold, because I'm not sold on Coach Bud. The last 2 years, I
same.
feel
Yeah,
like he's not. Again, what do I know? But just from a
yeah,
personal standpoint and
yeah,
opinion, I feel like he hasn't changed his schemes from regular season to playoffs in the
yeah,
last 2 years. Now we've seen him change it up this year, and in the process of him changing it up this year, they've lost some games and they won some close games. And I think that benefits them. I think the fact that they're not blowing out teams like they've been doing the last 2 years, they've been winning tight games and losing some tight games also by trying out other schemes. I think this will benefit them in the playoffs. Will it work? I don't know, because again, Philadelphia and Brooklyn are so stacked, right? And have extreme confidence going into the playoffs. Not even talk about the lineup, just the confidence that they have. So that's my question for Milwaukee. Uh, yes, they have experience in the playoffs, but they are not good experiences. They've been bounced out quite easily,
yeah, yeah,
and I think that's a coach thing. I think it's just Bud not being able to adjust in the playoffs against the teams uh, who have beaten them. Who's beaten them in the playoffs? Miami was the one who
yeah.
beat them last
Toronto
year,
and
correct?
Miami.
And then Toronto the year before,
Yeah,
right? So those were incredibly disciplined defensive teams. And that's why I say in the playoffs it's so different, because now you can scheme against one team only. Unlike in the regular season, you're thinking about the Lakers now, but you also have Phoenix, let's say, the next day. So your advanced scouts, your assistant coaches are already studying film, about and preparing for your trip, your West Coast trip. You know what I mean? You're thinking about those things.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, you don't think about those things
Yeah.
anymore. You're only thinking about one team and schemes to stop one team for at least 4 games. So I'm not sold on that. Miami's always dangerous when it comes to the playoffs. I think the Oladipo injury today, I don't know how bad that is, but he was
Yeah.
looking good with them
Yeah.
in the last 4 games defensively, especially. Boy, Miami was flying defensively the last four games. Even in the loss, they just got shot out by Memphis the other day.
Yeah.
But defensively, the potential for that team, and of course offensively, what Oladipo and Trevor Ariza can bring in spurts. But yeah, I saw in that 4 game winning streak what that length and that defensive lineup could do with Oladipo starting with Butler, then Duncan Robinson, and then Bam, and then Trevor Ariza. That's what
Mm.
they played with the last 4 games. Defensively, it was so good.
Yeah.
So you put them in a scenario where it's just the playoffs. They know how to win. They have a seasoned champion coach. They know they have confidence when it comes to the playoffs because they've been there, and it's a solid core with a lot of veterans and high IQ players. That's a tough out too. I'm not saying they're going to win. Maybe past the second round. I don't know if they depends on where they land. But again, if they land in the 4 and 5, you're safe against the top 3 teams, right?
Yes.
So if let's say by now they are up against Atlanta, they have a good chance of going to
Kayang-kaya.
the second round.
Yeah.
That's where it gets interesting. Who are you going to battle in the second round? If let's say they battle, I don't know, Milwaukee or Philadelphia, they're they're confident about their lineup. If everyone's healthy, you know. But obviously Brooklyn with the lineup, if everyone's healthy, they're overwhelming favorites. But I wouldn't throw around the word easy in the playoffs because that lineup has not been tested together
Mm-hmm.
in a series. Totally different things. You can't. A lot of things that don't work in the regular season. From what I've been watching all these years, when they do it in the playoffs, it's totally different. So chemistry is going to be a big question in the playoffs when the game slows down, when things get tight, and when tensions are high. It's a good thing that the people that they assemble, talking about Brooklyn, are also veterans din naman.
Mm-hmm.
They've been through different wars na rin. So I don't think they'll panic. It's just a matter of whether they'll have playoff chemistry. What they're showing right now is regular season chemistry, which
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, which is scary. I mean, at certain times it's scary. But Kevin Durant came back and did not miss a shot,
Mm-mm.
right?
Yeah.
You know, and that guy's proven in the finals. He's proven in the playoffs. So we'll see. I think playoff chemistry is still in question.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a hot take, but in my opinion, kasi like Brooklyn, they got Griffin and Aldridge, right? But it didn't address their need that they need to guard for someone to guard Giannis, Embiid, and Bam because I don't know, like is Nicholas Claxton gonna guard them or Aldridge
Yeah.
or Griffin? Because it's
I,
gonna
I
be tough to defend those three.
well, the thing is, sometimes for teams who's available na lang in the market, and if we can't get anybody who can guard Giannis or let's say Embiid or whatever, I think they're taking their confidence like, okay, but who's gonna guard Kyrie, Harden, and KD at the same time? That's how
Mm-mm.
they're thinking right now. I mean, you see it in the game sometimes. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, especially in the first few parts of the season, you see it that they're just not. Bahala na. They're not going to try to defend. They're just going to try to outscore you.
Mm-hmm.
And in all honesty, they have the ability to. So I guess their thinking is because if they have the defensive capability to stop Giannis and all that, wala na, game over na yan. If they have somebody who can guard a Giannis,
Mm-mm.
God is still fair. At least they still don't have that guy.
Yeah.
Or let's say Embiid, who, I mean, there's no way
Yeah.
Aldridge or DJ is going to be able to stop
Yeah.
Embiid, right? But I think they're their thinking right now is it's fine, but let's let's maybe work on Tobias Harris. We've got guys for that. Let's work on um, Middleton uh, or Drew Holiday if we're talking about Milwaukee. And then if everyone is healthy, now I'm not making an argument for Brooklyn. I'm just trying to be objective that I mean they can't stop every single player out there for sure, but how about them? Who's gonna stop them also? And we probably won't be able to stop one or two guys to you, but can you stop our three guys? You know, when everything's clicking. But the question is everybody going to be available for Brooklyn? That's the biggest question. Playoff chemistry and health is going to be the biggest question for Brooklyn, I think, going into the the playoffs.